Hey folks, I figured that I would share this video. This one is kind of interesting. Kind of prove my point that sometimes openings doesn't mean anything. So I was playing 3-0. I mean, I'm usually around 26, 2700, give or take in blitz games and even bullet. So I was playing this guy and I played him before, obviously. I played 1A4. And sometimes I play these goofy openings, just to prove a point that, try to win, right? Try to show the skill because sometimes when you play this kind of stuff, you're not really going into any kind of opening theory. You're just playing goofing off, and it becomes a skill that Black is trying to punish this kind of ideas. So when your opponents play this kind of goofy ideas, you want to play towards the center, right? Exactly what he did, right? So that's actually what he's supposed to be doing. So E3, I mean, I'm creating my own stuff here. So basically, I'm competing against, like, let's say D5, and then I play D4. He took this is already looks like, and it tells me it's a weird opening. Or I don't know what kind of opening it is, but it's kind of like nonsense. But knight f6, knight f3. So I'm trying to like to justifying like a4 is like a legitimate move. So I'm c5, bishop d3 to try to play here. Maybe he has like c4, which he did, and that kind of weird. I could have probably played like bishop e2, knowing that c4 could happen. But I played bishop e2, bishop d6, so he's having some serious control with the bishop. So castles h3, stopping this potential. He played knight c6. I mean, if I have to give this like like right now what is happening, it looks like e4 is just like a waste of our time. Black is already like active. Maybe this move would have been interesting, bishop g5, but he may say, well, we could go for this kind of stuff. Maybe maybe knight c3. So maybe it's like here, 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 knight c3, getting a tempo against this one. He just plays bishop e6. I just feel like black is much more active in general. So he plays h6 here. He may be concerned by it, like after knight c3. So bishop e3 here, just developing my pieces, Nothing much is going on. Rook e8. The rook belongs to like open files or semi-open files, so that's a good idea. Queen d2 to connect the two rooks. Bishop f5. And then I played here, rook e1, try to compete against this rook, and then queen d7. He's connecting the two rooks now, looking at this. So I figured that, before you get to play here, maybe I could consider me sacking first. I don't think this works at all. As a matter of fact, I'm making things a lot worse here. But it's an attempt, like I played a4, may as well go for like another push with bishop take. So I'm not really being serious about this one, like, just like take and see what happens. I knew it's like lost. So here I'm still like attacking f6, so you still have some like a little bit of defense to do. Knight h4, trying to take here, queen takes g6, trying to grab a pawn or two and see what happens. He played here, which is good because if I take, he just takes back. Everything is good here, to be honest, for black. This is already looks like very winnable. So he played here, queen g5. So he was attacking my queen. So this trade would have made a lot easier for him. There's also like bishop f4 coming in. So maybe like I'm already like in deep. I mean, like I don't have anything. So I went back to g5 so I could defend my queen and not really trade on f5. But he could still trade though. He trade on here. Then I have to take on h4. He played king g7, so it's defending f6, and maybe it's here. Next move, he just have plenty of ideas that he could do. He could just trade everything if he wants. So queen g5, I'm keeping an eye on attacking d5, but this move is pretty strong as well. Just maybe trade. So he's trading. So now I have double pawns, and I was also like I'm down, just a piece for nothing pretty much. I played the e4 early on, so he's following the rule where you basically up a piece, he's a straight, right? So it makes a lot of sense. So knight e4, he's going after c3, attacking the queen. So I figured that I have to take, and I guess here at this point it's very clear that this is actually winning. So even here, I mean, it's been winning for a long time. It's not this move or anything. It's been like winning all across. This move is only like a bluff to me. It's a bluff. So like here to try to create some trouble, like something like here e6. So the idea is he cannot really take because g6 is gonna be under like enough pressure. So for example, e6 right now, and instead of here, it's just met by queen takes, right? But if you play here and let's say here, if you play e6, you cannot take because this would, you know, we could take with the on g6 with the rook. So that's the lift, you know, and and a way to try. But he's going there, so you know he's basically saying, well, we could stop e6 because we could take with the rook with the queen and still defend g6. So rook e3, queen f5. I like what he's doing. Simply trade queens now, right? Trade. So I cannot really afford trading queens. So I played here, and things are getting a lot worse now because he could take the pawn at e5. Things are getting unbelievable because now this is probably resignable. Like 20 years ago, should have been. I should have considered resigning. So rook here, it's a bluff. Nothing is going on here. So he plays here. Potentially want to play this. Queen g4, queen e6. He's trying to trick queens. He played e5. Um, then I played here. Maybe I'm checking here. I'm not sure exactly what this check is going to do because he could just simply move away. Everything is protected for black, right? The c4 is protected by the, you know, the queen is protecting it. He played b5, and this is what, you know, this is typical idea where this pawn is just, so now I have like multiple concerns. Well, I'm just simply down a piece. There's a pass pawn. You could argue that I also have a pass pawn, but it's just I'm down a piece, right? It just doesn't feel like I have anything going. Double pawns. So I played queen e7. This is still lost. Nothing is really happening from e4. Things are getting worse. From taking on h6, sacking the piece, are really lost from there. Nothing have changed. So queen d5. Maybe looking at this. So I actually consider doing this, but then you know I figured that he may have rook e8. So rook e8, and then the rook gets in with potential queen d1. Just to show you what I mean by this, like if you were to take here, let's say here, here, something like this, here, and maybe even that. It's probably good enough, right? Yeah, it's already good enough. So that was one concern. Um, I did not, you know, so I did not do it. I played here. So he played rook e8. And this is the fun part. I actually saw that, but I told myself I have this move, and then I'm looking at b7. So before he gets to play this, which he actually did, I figured that now is it b7 is something that I could do. But then there's this move, and actually here something is off. I actually felt like maybe this is a huge mistake, and it was. Could you guys pause the video and see what you could do with white? I mean, you do have to consider before you pause. Remember, uh, you know, he's basically sacking this rook. He is, right? And the idea is the queen takes. How exactly would you stop that, right? So this is a good idea by black. Technically, he's saying you could take all day long, and then you cannot really stop the promotion, right? So if you pause the video, find a tactic, and always when I say finding tactics, you always want to think outside the box. You always want to scan the board. You don't look at this side of the board, this queen side only. You're not looking only here. You want to look towards the center and also the other side of the board. When you're dealing with tactics, it could be anywhere on the board. It doesn't have to be on this one side of the board. So if you pause the video, find the tactic. If you did not find it, you know, you could just do more puzzles, right? But it's funny that I did not see it, but it was really a good idea, though. So I think the idea that we all know that this is happening, but I think I had this move. I had this move, and if I check with the computer, I think this is actually strong enough, right? So if you take here, we have an entire rook. And then I'm the one up in exchange. This is pawn is probably takeable, right? Next move. So if he goes for king h7, he still take on d5, and then he could still queen. But this is like a major mess. This is still winning because obviously here, I think after rook g8, the pawn is still promoting somehow, like queen e5. There's also rook g4 here. So this is actually the issue. You could argue that I'm still defending, but then there's rook g4. which actually this is like a mating idea. It's fascinating that how in two moves, right? This is actually winning. So I did not find queen e5. So you do have to consider when you're dealing with tactic checks, right? I mean, queen e5 was a check. If it wasn't a shack, maybe you could argue that this queen was shack, right? Like he could queen with shack. So the problem is it's shack, and if he goes away, you take the queen. If you take the queen, you take the rook. So he cannot really escape it, though. It's funny that I did not see this. I went with this one, which is pretty lousy. But the game does not end. That's the funny part. So now you're looking at this, telling yourself, why is white is playing on? I don't even know myself, right? So this is promotion going on, right? I give a check, and then we have here, and then rook g4. So I'm going. Let's say we have to fix. Yeah. So I'm going with actually this concept. So this move leads to here and checkmate, whether with the queen. So if you're not really careful, just like you play the queen move, let's say you play here, and let's say you play a random move, that leads to checkmate. Or with the rook, there's two ways. And even if you block your bishop, doesn't matter much. Actually, yeah, it does not matter much because you can still play here, and then you still mate. So this is actually the mating kind of net here that I was trying to do. I don't know why the board is moving all the way in the beginning, but we just go back to the original position. Obviously, all of this is lost. Going back. So around here. So I played here, and he promoted. This is actually what happened, and then I played king h2. So obviously he went back, right? So he knows his mate coming here. Excuse me. I still played here, and then he played here. It's funny that this now, if I'm not mistaken, this may be a draw. If I'm not mistaken, it is a draw because you cannot really stop the winning move. If I was not the winning move, maybe it's around. Queen d8 or something. Yes, queen d8. So queen d8 is actually stopping this move completely, right? And then it's two queens, right? So all you have to do is stop the mate, but you need to stop it the right way, not he's just using your queen, right, to stop queen h4. I actually felt like here, if g3 doesn't do anything, he's still. I mean, even if he has to sack his queen, he's still gonna be up a piece anyway. So maybe it's like queen, let's say queen e1 or something, and that you want to put some pressure here. So when you play here, you could still take on h4, by the way. And this actually could be, this is only trouble for, that's one concern for, for white. So this is actually winning for black. So he did not, he went with the other one. So this is actually a draw, and I knew this is draw now because he cannot stop. Even if he plays f6, I just simply go here. And now that's f6 is going to be much more concerning because of potential mate. So he played here thinking that he could stop, and then this is possibly a draw because you have to repeat moves, right? I was like, what? This move happened. And this move is very like, I could still play here. I don't know if I'm winning here or anything. This is still draw, but I took here, and this is actually, this is actually kind of wild. The computer here, I'm intentionally opening up the computer. It's not giving this like an automatic win uh, for black. It's funny that this is not clear, even with the two queens. It's funny that I looked at this and I was like, even during the game and after the game, I was like, this is not clear that this is actually winning. So even after you take on c3, it's still not clear after rook to c4. I mean, black is slightly better, but it's not really winning. The idea is like this. You don't see this every day, like the huge dynamic between like the queens, rook versus two queens, and the king is in the middle of the board. You still have some pawns, like two additional pawns. This is not as clear, and that's one of the reasons why I share the game. That this is really a strange looking game. How could you be up like two queens and you cannot win, right? So this is not the end here. He played here. Just going back here. So I checked him. He goes back here. I took the bishop. He played here, and now we have some fireworks. I felt like this move is really bad because I could take here and take, and if we open up the computer, we're having a trouble. We have trouble. White is actually winning by forced. Because now here, 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 and then potentially here, we have a check here. And guess what's happening? Could you see what's happening? Pause the video. Do you see what's happening? What is the best move here by white? Could you find it? If you don't find it, not good. If you found it, it's always good. Did you pause the video? You did pause the video. So the solution is here. And I won the game. And I told myself, what just happened here? And it's fascinating game, like how you cannot win with two queens on the board. But even after here, this is already lost. He cannot really save the position because the king is really like, I open up the computer here for you guys to see. Even if he plays here, this is like +5. I guess he play like, it's funny that even queen f5 is a move. Even queen f5 is winning here. And the issue here that the king is wide open for the queen and the rook. And by the way, if you ever try this kind of stuff, doesn't really work, right? We're just wasting our time. You just cannot sack your queen for a rook like that because you have plenty of pawns. You just want to find a way to defend, not just sack your queen for the rook. So here, there's nothing he could do at all. Like he could even do queen d5. There's always check here, and let's say king c5, and then we have rook e5. And the problem here, white is going to take the queen and then eventually have the two pawns that he has, or even more. And then that's simply winning for white. It's fascinating game how this happened and how I played e4 in the beginning, and the game turned out to be from a4 you have this kind of like twist from here. You have this. You don't see this every day, and it's good. It's a good video to share. I mean, you don't see like, and the fascinating part is actually before, like even when he played bishop g6, and then it's a draw. He has two queens. He cannot really like close the deal. It's like it's still like not winning. And then how I was able to take on e4 and he takes on c3 in one of the lines that we looked at. Still not clear for black to win. Fascinating game, and it's one of the complications in the game that how sometimes like pieces cannot really perform, or you have two pieces, you would assume two queens, right? Two pieces, two queens, you assume they're gonna win. Sometimes you can't, right? And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more. Thank you, folks, and again, Merry Christmas.